And by then my dad was working, my mom was working, Tencha was working. So it wasn't, we were migrant people, moving around. We had established, mom and dad had established themselves in Fairfield because that's where they where they finished school. Yolanda was the first one to graduate from there, and then from there on, uh, John and Irma and everybody graduated from Sand Creek.
Mhm.
Now, I think I'm very proud of all my siblings because from where we came from, I mean, they did really well. And they all had good jobs. They all had an education. They went to Michigan State, and I'd say out of the 10,
What was that?
It's fine.
Okay.
out of
It was.
10 of us, only 3 didn't go to college. The rest went to college.
Wow.
So it was, to me, I'm very proud of that fact.
Mhm.
Yeah. One time because when we first got here and my dad didn't have a job and we used to work in the fields. And then by February or that, it used to be that dad had to go to get public assistance, and they would give us $20 to, for groceries. And one day we were sitting down and we were thinking, how much money we made, all of us together, Irma, John, Tony, Andy. I mean, it says, well, I guess we gave him back the $20 he gave us, just tax-wise, because we all made good money. We all paid taxes, so we paid the state of Michigan,
When we were,
100-fold, from what they
when
gave us.
we came to Sheridan, that's where my dad bought the first car. It's a 49 Chevrolet, and it was burgundy color. My dad used to call him El Wino, okay? And it was a small car. Now, there was 7 of us kids and my mom and dad, and all of our possessions to travel from here to Florida and all that. Everything we had, that meant bedding, clothing, utensil, anything for a kitchen. Everything was in that car. That's all we had. 7 kids and 2 grown-ups. And we all fit in we had to, we all fit in that car.
And we were telling Marie that she used to like to lay down her, her part, the back
window?
the back window. She used to lay that the lowest, so
That
there
was
was
a
no seat belts.
I would survive down there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, we did it, we went to Florida and all over Florida, and we live in a tent over there for a while, because, that's what they gave us. It was a migrant worker camp, and they gave us a tent. No, my mom made furniture, she made us a bed, she made a table, my mother was very handy. She was a survivor. And,
What
in Indian Town, when we got to Florida, we ended up in Indian Town. They gave us a little shack. It must have been maybe 12 by 12, and there was 7 of us, and my mom and dad. My mom went and got some 2x4s. She made a bed. She made a table. There was about this much room between the bed and the table, okay? And then on the corner, she went and got a piece, an old broom, and that was a closet. Yeah, but she did her best,
Tomato crates, cherry crates, anything.
anything
Was used for
was
furniture.
used for something. There was some tomatoes in Florida because they were green tomatoes. They were in a basket, a wire basket, Well, that was a refrigerator. So no, it was like I said, you survive with anything that the mattresses that we had, most they had hay. They would give us a cover, and we would fill them up with hay, and that was our.
That was when we got mattresses, okay?
Not hay, it's straw. Not
Yeah.
hay, it's straw.
But that was a plus. We had a mattress.
When did things start turning around? Because I don't remember your family being that destitute when I was young. I mean,
We had already.
you'd
By
already,
the time your mother and my mother met, they were established over here.
We live in
They had
Saltwater.
already had a job. They had, both mom and dad had a job by then. And my mom was very thrifty. She knew how to save money, how to use money, how to take care of everything. So
were there any Mexican customs that she brought over that you continue to through the years, or maybe you still do today? You mentioned the tamales.
It's sad because no.
No.
I mean, I think we all lose, every generation, they lose something, So it's sad, but I mean, we do know a lot of stuff, but we don't,
Now, did you speak Spanish at home?
half and half.
well, when we first got here, that's all we knew. We knew how to speak Spanish. And now, they struggle, like John and Tony and Irma. I mean, we might, but definitely we're not fluent in Spanish. We understand it, we can speak, we can, because you forget. And when we first got here, we didn't know any English. So
Did you know English when you went to school? When you started school?
Not
we
the
learned.
beginning.
Okay.
We
Did you?
learned.
No.
Do you
I
remember?
remember I was 11 years old, and we were picking tomatoes in Dundee. Yeah, with Tio Marcos. We were picking tomatoes there. And then I didn't know any English, and my cousin says something to me, and I can't remember what she said, but she said something about sleep. And I understood because I remember I answered her in Spanish, but I'm not sleepy. And then she says, "Oh my God, she told me in Spanish that I understood. I understood that word sleep. That's the only thing, So, we picked up a word here and there, so.
I remember my first sentence that I ever learned. And that was, it must have been in Sheridan or something like that. There was, we live, in the housing they provided for us. I think it was a house and it was divided with
Berlin, yeah, something like that.
well, anyway, that's the way they divided the rooms with those, And anyway, there was I don't know how far I had to walk, but there was a farmer and he sold milk. And they taught me to say, "I want a quart of milk." That was my first sentence that I ever learned. And I would go and get one quart of milk. I don't know if I went every day or whatever, but I walked, I walked to the end of the lane or something. Whether they were the owners of the farm, I don't know.
Who taught you?
I think the people that, the truck driver's daughter, but that was the only thing that I knew how to say. But I asked. But now that I remember how hard it was, when people are saying something, when they are talking and then you don't understand anything. And I remember that, that people. And then I remember one time I thought that girl was saying something against somebody. And then she told me, "No," says, "I was defending you."
This is another funny story, Grace. We were in Sheridan, okay? And we used to go to Aonia, buy groceries or whatever. Sheridan was a small town, Aonia was a bigger town. So on Saturdays, we usually went to the movies, okay? We didn't understand them, but we went to the movies. So we went to the movies in Aonia, and Gracie's, and I seen that movie on television now. Anyway, I remember that everybody was laughing, and Gracie was laughing, and I turned around and I said, what did they say? She says, I don't know, but everybody's laughing. So, okay.
No, it's, you know, so it, well, my cousin, you know, my cousins, I call them that, you know, but they taught us, you know, they taught us English too, you know, and we were with them, so we, you know, we were immersed in English, you know, when we were around, so I think we learned. I mean, I know I've never been able to get rid of my accent. And I can't remember, I can't pronounce SH and CH. You know, I don't know which one I'm pronouncing it, but you know, I think I understand. At least I know when somebody's telling me something. No, but it was, that was what, now John, when he started in kindergarten, I remember Mom and Dad used to say, I don't know how he knows, but he says, I have to take a nickel. The teacher told us to take a nickel. And John didn't understand. You know, when he was in kindergarten, he didn't know any English. But he knew that, you know, and they said, I wonder how he knows that, you know, that's, you know, sometimes they used to make a collection or something, you know. They used to have to bring a nickel or whatever, but John knew, you know, so.
How about dating? Did you have any issues with dating, like Caucasians or?
No, I used to go out with guys, you know, I thought behind my mom's and dad's back, you know, but, you know, it wasn't dating like you go and you know, they comes to the house and you go somewhere. No, that wasn't that kind of dating.
What were the rules for dating in your house?
I don't think there was any rules,
No.
just no.
No dating.
No dating.
Yeah.
No, no.
Now, that was my dad. My
That
dad,
was- no.
my mom was more, you know, but my dad, he didn't go for that, you know.
When I was 17, and then you know, I had met my first husband through his sister, you know, neighborhood and whatever. And he went and told my dad that he wanted to marry me. And I thought that mom thought that he was coming to ask if he could date me. And they says, no. He says, you know, that he wants to marry her. So you know, I can't say that I had a lot of experience dating or getting to know people or anything like that. Yeah, I went out with guys and everything, but definitely wasn't something that, you know, you wrote letters to each other. And, you know, so that was a kind of, you know.
How do you like to identify yourself as, you've gone through, I know I've gone through the ages of where we're called Chicanos, Mexican Americans, Latinos, Hispanics. Is there a term that you prefer to describe your background, your heritage?
Okay, I always say I'm a Mexican. You know, if it comes to that, I say, okay, I'm Hispanic, but I'm a Mexican, you know. That's what I am, you know.
That's me too. You know, I'm a Mexican. You know, that's it. But you know, when I'm talking, it's just Hispanic people. You know, that means I'm including Cubans, Puerto Ricos, people from everywhere with that word. But me myself, you know, I'm Mexican.
Do you have any stories or any other stories or anything else you want to record on there for historical purposes?
Even though we were not migrant workers anymore, we were still poor, very poor, okay? But the same thing, we all, then after a while, you know, we all got jobs and all that, so, but basically, we were poor, that's it. You know, even though we're not migrant workers or whatever, you know, you know what, we were always migrant workers, even though we were established here, we went,
You still work the fields?
pick strawberries. We went to Delta to pick strawberries. We went to Traverse City every year. We went to Traverse City until I was 21 years old. We used to go every year to Traverse City to pick cherries. And, you know, we picked tomatoes, which I hated, you know. But then when I was 16, I got a job at the cannery. So then I didn't have to go pick tomatoes. I was only 16, So I had to get a permit from the school. Okay, and I would work that 4 or 5 weeks, and then after that I went back to school, you know. So
And I got married when I was 17, like I said before, so we moved away. So I didn't work the fields anymore. I mean, we went to visit them one time in Traverse City or something like that, but it wasn't because, I mean, my husband was working in the fundraising in East Chicago, Indiana. So, you know, but, so they had it harder, or they worked the fields a lot longer than I did. You know, like I said, I left the house at 17, so.
Did you pick up any cooking skills from your mom, or?
Everything we know.
Yeah.
I mean, Mom was not a good teacher as far as telling you, you do this and you do that, and, you know, no. You saw what she did and you did it. I did not know what to cook when I first got married, but I guess I like cooking because that's one of the best things that I like doing. And now I'm known for my cooking. And so, you know, and I was just so proud the other day. One of my grandkids called, and it's well, actually he's not a biological grandson, but you know, he's still my grandson. It's on my husband's side. And he said, Grandma, I have to call you and tell you how proud I am of all the things that you taught us how to do. He says, you taught us to make tamales, and now all the people in Ann Arbor are eating tamales that you made, because he works for this cafe, like, it's a little cafe that are at the college, you know, like a U of M, on the lawyers school. They have one, and they have them all over.
I was there Friday.
Were you? Well, Caleb is my grandson. He's one of the, but I think, you know, he's a manager over all of them. But all the other ones, it says, I just got a letter. This is what I wanna share with you. It says, I got a letter from this, I don't know who he is. His last name is Benitez. That I remember. And he was sending him the letter telling him he had been to that place, and Caleb had served him tamales, and he had given him some tamales to take home. So the man answered him, and he says, I'm sitting here with tears in my eyes. He says, because I am remembering my childhood. This is what we used to eat, you know, for Christmas and all that. So the man was very thankful, and Caleb was, you know, really proud, telling me, you know, that I had shown all that to them. I said, when did I do that? You know, I don't know. He says, Grandma, you always taught us what to do. He said, the fact that you didn't throw us out of the kitchen. No, so, you know, it's, you know, things like that come back to you, and I said, that I'm part of it, you know. And then my other granddaughter, now she is my biological daughter, called me this week, maybe Friday, and she was making tamales for the first time in Dallas. And she says, Grandma, the dough is still not what they say. I says, have you put water? You mean I can put water? He says, yes, you can. Oh, I said, and remember, the dough is, by the time you finish, it's almost like icing. That's what it's, you know, will feel like. Oh, okay, so she sent pictures where I think they're making the tamales and going like that. They're making it with their hands. And then, you know, how, you know, the pan that they put the tamales, you know, they really look good. So I was really proud of them. And then Irma's daughter and Leonor's daughter, they wanted to make tamales too. And they said, well, Karen said, we better learn to make tamales because, you know, Tia Grace is not going to be here forever. So we did one Easter, near Easter, we went and, you know, they helped me make tamales, and now she says that she can make tamales on her own, you know. I don't know if she has tried it, but, you know.
Hortencia used to make a pirutada. And that was
Oh,
a
Tencha makes capirotada,
that's a
that's the
that's
one,
a
and I
I
don't
mean,
make,
that's a traditional.
yeah.
Yeah.
mhm.
And buñuelos, I don't know,
Yeah,
does
I'm-
anybody make buñuelos?
Yeah, I
anymore?
do, I
Yeah.
make buñuelos, see,
Couple
those
of
are the
dried
things
food
that, you know.
items.
Yeah, we follow, I mean, the Mexican food, we do follow it,
Yeah.
you know, like, capirotada, you know what that is, your mom used to make it.
Yes,
You know,
mhm.
so I make it, actually, I make it for her husband every year, yeah.
Tell
Tell
Kevin
what
it's
it is.
bread pudding.
Tell what?
What is it?
Bread pudding.
Oh,
What it is?
capirotada is great,
It's a pudding,
Yeah.
it's a bread pudding.
Right.
And it's very easy to make, really. I mean, they make such a big thing of it, but it's nothing. You just toast your bread and layer it, and put cheese and raisins and peanuts, and then you make this I put brown sugar, you know, and water, and you just make and put cinnamon sticks there, and you just pour it over and stick it in the oven, and boom, it's capirotada.
In
And it's good.
Mexico, how did mom, because I remember mom making this, so what was the reason she made it? What was
Oh,
the history?
that is during Easter.
Okay.
It's
That's
an
it.
Easter.
Okay.
It's an Easter tradition. You know, just like tamales is for Christmas. This is for Easter. Like mole is for weddings. You know, we got our own tradition, our own dishes for everything. You know, so yeah.
Did you see your mom grinding the corn for tamales?
No.
I know what she used to do when we lived in Texas. They would actually cook the corn, you know, and it had to be a certain corn. It just couldn't be any
Right.
corn. And then she would cook the corn, but she would add a little bit of lime, and then she would take it to the mill, and they would make the masa, you know, the
Yeah.
mill, they would make the masa. But I know the mom did it one time over here too. You know, she gathered the corn, cooked it, and then, and you know, she made, I don't know, she was telling me, she made
She used
a
to
lot
make
of
the
tamales.
tortillas. You know, by hand.
Wow.
You know, the
Yeah.
corn tortillas.
Right.
So, no, she was a very, very good cook. You know, she used to, like I said, but it was never,
But she brought some of those traditions
Oh,
on
yeah.
and passed them on to
Mhm.
Oh,
us.
yeah.
That's
Well-
not-
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
like, even the buñuelos was that New Year's, was that?
Yeah, that was for New Year's.
Year's.
Oh, and it
You
was
know,
funny.
so people know.
How she made, and this is the tradition. How they make. I said, "Ooh, mom, you make them like that?" That's the way they used to do them, I guess. They would make like a tortilla, and then they would put like a clean cloth on their knees, and that's how they would stretch them.
Oh.
You know, and then they would fry them and put cinnamon. Yeah, but they used to use their knee. You know, like pizzas. You know, you use but they used to use their knee. You know, just stretch them.
So it's like a fried bread dough, like an elephant ear kind of?
an elephant
dessert.
ear,
Yeah,
like
an elephant ear, like an elephant ear. You know.
thinner,
Yeah.
a lot thinner than an elephant
Yeah,
ear.
and that's for New Year's.
So I
you know.
guess we do
But I
have some
remember
of
her
the tradition.
cutting them and doing a
Making-
twist, so there
Oh,
was
that was
some
the
reason-
churritos.
Oh, okay.
And it's the same thing. It's the same thing. The only thing, and it's like bow ties. You know, that's what it is. You know, bow ties. And then you just twist them and deep fry them, and then put cinnamon and sugar and cinnamon. That's it. That was a treat, though. You know, that was sweet.
We didn't eat that all the time. Yeah, but she did make buñuelos. And I have attempted to make buñuelos too, you know.
Yeah.
And
She used
so
to make
we do-
empanadas all the time. Empanadas, you know.
How about your dad? I've been concentrating a lot about your mom because I knew your mom better than I knew your dad. So what kind of traditions did he bring in?
My dad was a laid back guy, okay? He, you know, whatever, you know. But, you know, he had his ways, you know, his way of thinking. And he was 100% Mexican. You know, he had the Mexican traditions, and he would not, you know, this is the way it is, and that's it.
They had family, brothers and sisters. They would come up and visit, or no?
Who?
Your father. Did he have brothers and sisters that came
Yeah,
over?
he has a brother, and you know, he's still alive, my uncle. Now we go to East Chicago to see him. He's 90-some years old, so he doesn't come over anymore. So yeah, they used to come and visit us. You know.
My
Do you
dad came
remember
from
hearing any stories about them growing up? Or?
My dad came from a small family. Okay, now he had a
A sister,
brother and a sister and him, really, you know. Then his father remarried, and he had some other half brothers and sisters, but they were a lot younger, so really but there was 3 of them right there. So it was, you know, it was a small family.